Sometimes I forget. Yeah, if somebody calls during it, then it's... I think that we're live. My ringtone little thing is on there, so I can't see it. And let me see here. Nope. Okay, well, hopefully it'll go away in a minute. So, thank you for watching today, either if you're live or if you're coming to us later on after the video is recorded. But I'm so excited today to introduce you to a beautiful young woman that I just actually had met a while back when I first opened Amazing Changes. Her mom said, oh my gosh, you need to meet my daughter Marina, and she really wanted her to meet my son Kepa, who is also an artist. But so we met probably a year or so ago, I think, for the first time. But Marina just did a beautiful gallery show here a week or so ago. And her mom invited me to it. I was so glad that we went, and I love her art. And I love what's behind her art. And that's what I wanted to have her come and talk to us about today, about her journey about art. And I, by the way, if you have never seen me live before, I'm Tana Bengoa, the Teen Whisperer. And I transform families by creating radical connection between parents and their teens. So in doing these interviews with young people and anybody that I happen to interview, my intent and my purpose in coming to you in these interviews is to help create those bridges, build those bridges between not only teens and their parents, but also teens and teachers, and just essentially young people and older people. Because sometimes we just don't understand each other the way that we all think, and we don't understand what we're going through. And so I'm just here to kind of help bridge some of those gaps. And I want Marina today to share with us a little bit about your journey and your art. Talk to us about what you had in your gallery. So I'm just going to kind of turn it over to you and follow your heart and share with us your story.
Oh, where do I start? Probably with the gallery, since that was most recent.
Sure, yeah. You can start there and then move back in time to...
Right, okay. Recently I put on a gallery of about 15 pieces that was all mostly watercolor, which is my favorite medium. And it was the emotive portraiture gallery, so it was everything about emotions that we feel as people, that everyone goes through. And the objective was to connect people and for them to see something personified as an emotion, to see that they felt it and that other people have felt it and that they're less alone because of it. And it was sort of an abstract idea, and I wasn't sure if a lot of people would get it, but I had some incredible feedback, and people really understood and connected with the concept. And it was very fulfilling to me as an artist just to see something that it was a very emotional, vulnerable thing to put out there, and that was the basis of the artwork. And the fact that people were able to connect with it and to understand it on an emotional level was very powerful for me. So I'm glad people liked it, and there was also some fun things in there that were more illustrative, like flying whales and glowing fireflies and stuff, so that was always fun. But
that's one of the things that really stood out to me. I mean, I love your art, and I just, watercolor is my favorite medium as well, but when I saw that, and that whole thing that you said about realizing that it's that emotion really that connects us, that we all experience the same emotions. It doesn't matter what walk of life you're in, what culture you're from, we all experience those same emotions, and what a unifying factor that is for us.
I really wanted people to feel less alone in whatever they were feeling. If they were super overjoyed or maybe going through a complicated time, I think that's something everyone can connect with, and because of that we can be kinder towards one another, because there's just a general basis of understanding, just as a human being, treating people like human beings.
Absolutely.
It seems very simple, but I think people were able to understand it.
So in our earlier conversation, because we've been chatting for a little bit, I wanted to kind of get her juices flowing and think about what we thought was really important to share. And I think one of the things that really stood out to me, Marina, are some of the struggles that you've had around pursuing your passion of art, because it did start really young. So share with us a little bit about that journey of when it started, and the challenges that you've had in pursuing that, and some of those disappointments in being able to pursue that as a career.
Yeah, it's not always easy. It wasn't always easy, but it's always worth it. I think is probably one of the best advice I could give, is that it's always worth it. But I started painting at a young age. I think I was about 8 or 9, and I started with oils and then eventually moved into watercolors. So I've worked with pretty much every medium in between, just kind of trying to find which suits me best. Right now I'm sticking to watercolors and also digital mediums, so I paint a lot in Photoshop. for my more illustrated work, which is always fun because you can incorporate more watercolor things into it, and it's very mixed medium, and there's so much flexibility. So
okay, I don't know much about that. I'm sure it's really cool, but I
definitely different. I've only been in Photoshop for about a year, 2 years, I think, and I illustrated a book solely in Photoshop. So,
really?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that was a really big challenge, but like I said, worth it. I didn't go to school for art. I don't really have any formal art training or classes or anything. To my experience, it's just kind of been a lot of pursuing things at work, kind of following my passion wherever it leads. But one thing I do recommend is finding mentorships, people who are professionals who know what they're doing and are a few steps ahead of you, or maybe they're exactly where you want to be in a few years. Definitely talk to those people, collaborate with those people, and you'd be surprised how many of them are willing to help and just to kind of take you under their wings and say, let's do this together and let's collaborate, and why don't you illustrate my book, kind of a thing. It just will take you so much further than going to a formal school, in my experience. I just kind of stopped at high school because school wasn't really for me. But
So how was it for you? Did you even take like art classes in school and so forth, or not really because you had learned at such an early age and had that natural talent? I mean, did you feel like you didn't really need it, or you were too far in advance? I mean, you shared with me earlier the experience of your oil painting when you were little and how you actually got bullied because of that.
A little bit, but in my case, art classes weren't really a thing at school.
Oh.
Kind of up through young age, through middle school, was kind of an affordability thing. No one could really afford great art classes in school, so they weren't really a great thing. And then I went to a small enough high school that they didn't have any offered, so it wasn't really a thing. My school wasn't artistic. It's not a word I would use to describe
You needed to be over in Eagle at that used to be called Fresco Art Academy, but
something I considered. But eventually, it was better for me to stay at the smaller school. But it wasn't really a thing anyone else in my school was into, and I was pretty much content just kind of flying solo with it because it was something I could pursue without a whole lot of pressure from school because there's already enough academic pressure. I didn't want that to be infringing on my art. I didn't want to end up fearing something that I loved so much. So I think it was good that they were separate and I was able to experiment things without the worry of a grade or anyone's looking at it too much and making a judgment. So I think it worked out pretty well in that case. Plus, during the time I was able to have mentorships with professionals, and that was so much better than any class.
Yeah. Oh yeah.
I was able to go to professional galleries and workshops, and it was just hands-on experience. It's far better than anything you can learn. Just from people telling you what to do. If you do it yourself and with people and collaborate with professionals, it's just
and I'm sure it makes such a difference of their believing, right? I know one of the things for me that about the only television show I watch is The Voice, and the thing I love about that is how those artists believe in their people that they're coaching, you know, and they're like, oh much I want you. They fight over them sometimes. It's like having somebody who is a professional at what you love to do, and having them instill that confidence in you that's such a big part of it, isn't it?
Definitely.
And that kind of plays back into what we were talking about in school, how you got the opposite of that. Yes. Are you willing to share a little bit about that and a little bit about your disability and how that played into all of the things with your art?
I think it's something more people can relate to than what we usually talk about. I think a lot of people can relate to it on some level, but I was lucky enough to have a very supportive family and peers, but it wasn't always the same from my teachers. Just kind of, as I got older, there was more and more pushback about, well, you know, art's not a real job, or what are you actually going to do? How are you going to earn a living? I think every artist experienced that at some point in their life. I think everyone's heard that about, oh, it's not going to happen. But I think to kind of break that down, I think what they're trying to say is that it's a lot of work. In some cases, unlikely. But if you're willing to work hard enough, and if it's your greatest passion that moves you so much, that you will do it, and things will just kind of work out the way they're supposed to, because you're always working at it, you're always thinking about it, and when you have that kind of drive, it's just inevitable.
Absolutely. And we talked about that. The desire and passion is what literally creates. So when you want something badly enough, and where you're focused, when you focus on something, energy flows there, and literally that's how we manifest things, and people come into our lives and just opportunities present themselves. Have you found that to be true for you?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
There's just, I don't even know how it happens, but
Yeah. It's kind of magical, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's just really, really a fun adventure. So
yeah, there are so many times I'm like, oh my gosh, the stars just aligned or something.
Yeah.
Because just, I don't know, things, I couldn't be where I am today without the help of
Mhm.
people who just said, come along with me and we'll do this
Mhm.
together, or, you know, have you tried doing this? And it's just total game changer. So
yes.
yes, but in school, I'd say more in high school, that's where a lot of students feel so much pressure that's very much unhealthy. And I think people should realize that a bit more, that there's not only from teachers but also students, and sometimes it's the school's policies itself of just if there's a big push to get into a certain school, or if they say you have to pursue college, or this university is going to be the best for you, there's a lot of that, and it's not, I don't think it's good to have that much pressure. I mean, it's good for people who are academically inclined to see their opportunities, but if it's not for you and you understand that, don't feel pressured. I guess it's so much easier said than done, because there's so much all the time all around you saying you have to do this and this is the way, and if you don't follow along with that, it can be a little bit disheartening.
Yes.
Because people kind of start to lose their, I guess, respect for you in some cases, where they say, oh, well, you're not going to school, why not, or what's wrong with you?
Right.
In my case, I was like, well, literally, I have a learning disability that prevents me from doing that, but it wasn't something that I was really held back by. I mean, it would have been different if I thought that I was going to university and had to have overcome that, but that would be an entirely different story. In my case, I didn't really have a desire to go to school. I had so many struggles just with math alone that I didn't think I was going to be able to graduate without the help of just basically anyone and everyone who's willing to give me chances upon chances just to get my grades up. And it wasn't that I was a bad student. I was very much dedicated and worked my hardest. It was just the one math grade would always tank my GPA. It sort of, it looked like I wasn't a great student, but I was constantly studying and doing redos all my lunch hours, and because that was what I had to do to graduate. And I just thought, if I can just graduate, if I can just get past the struggles and the pressure that I'm feeling, then I can just pursue art full time, and everything will be worth it. I just have to be patient and work hard, and I think that's kind of been my policy for a lot of things. Be patient, work hard, have faith in your abilities, seeking mentors.
Surround yourself, right, with people who do believe in you.
Yes.
And if it's okay with you, I want to interject something here for just a minute for our audience. I really want to take this minute to really, number one, encourage young people. Sometimes we have a deficiency in one area, and that doesn't mean that we're deficient. That doesn't mean that we're not even perhaps brilliant. This young woman is brilliant in her field. So she may have had a struggle in math, but that doesn't mean that she wasn't a good student. Doesn't mean that she's not just an incredibly talented person with her gift, which is art. So just because you may not be good in one subject or another subject, or maybe you struggle with ADD, or maybe you have some of these different things that people label you as that you're broken or that you have a disability, I don't buy into that. I believe that you're probably actually really, really gifted in some area, that somebody hasn't identified that in you and given you the opportunity to pursue that passion. And the reason that Marina's mom and I connected is because my oldest son, Keppa, is very much like Marina. Really, he did 1 year of school. I homeschooled most of his life, and after 1 year, it was just too much for him. But the kid is brilliant. He's not a kid anymore. He's a young man. He's a successful businessman, and he's taught himself. He didn't go to college. He actually didn't even graduate from high school. He's a self-taught. He follows his passion. And so I'm here to say that, you know what, that's okay. And I want to speak to the parents and even the teachers that college is not for every person. It's for some people. And sometimes it even helps to take a gap year. So I'd like you to, as parents and adults and teachers, to consider that sometimes the pressure you're putting on your kids or your students can be very discouraging for them and make them feel less than and feel like you're overlooking them for who they really are, not seeing them for who they are and believing in their potential. Would you say that's accurate? Did you feel that way at times?
Yes, and I'd also like to add to that.
Okay.
Even if you are someone in school, or if you're just considering what your possibilities could be for a career path, I still recommend working with professionals, people who are in that path, just because there's so much hands-on experience or maybe workshops or seminars you can go to that I think are definitely irreplaceable. So no matter where you fall on this spectrum, I think there's something to be gained with working with people who know what they're doing and who are currently doing it. Because I think,
for sure,
yeah, certain career paths are changing so quickly that it's very hard to stay on top of the curve unless you're an active part of it. And there's all kinds of benefits, obviously, like networking and getting to know people and hands-on experience. But I think wherever you are on that, and if you're feeling super pressured or if you're feeling totally chill, then it's still a good thing to do, just to kind of always keep working out your passion to stay a few steps ahead of where you want to be and to keep going towards the goals that you want to achieve with people who have achieved it, who know what they're doing. So I think that's something to always consider.
Yes, I agree. So is there anything else that you'd like to share while we have our audience here today that is on your heart? That
I thought of a few things before starting, and now I'm kind of drawing a blank. Let's see. For artists, I have some very specific art advice. I'd say be very passionate about what you're doing. If you have to change mediums or if you want to explore new subjects, go for it. You're never too old or too young to start. In my career path, I had a lot of people say, like, you're quite young to be doing what you're doing, and I thought, sure, but I'm still doing it, and couldn't be happier doing what I'm doing. I don't think there's any age limit or any range of abilities that you need to get started doing what you want to do. So I recommend kind of just keeping that faith in yourself. I mentioned mentorships quite a bit. Let's see. For students, if you're feeling super pressured in school, if you feel like you're not in a healthy place, then definitely it's really tricky. It's a really hard place to be. I think these students need to know that it's valid to feel that way, that there is a lot of pressure, and it's not always healthy to be in that state. You will get through it, and there are people to support you.
But isn't that a key? Is you've got to reach out. You've got to let somebody know what you're feeling and what you're going through. Exactly. You've got to talk to your parents would be your first line. If you don't feel like you can talk to your parents, there's always somebody. Find somebody to talk to. Express the discouragement or frustration or whatever those emotions are that you're feeling. Because it might even be one of your friend's parents or something. If you can talk about it, they might be able to go with you to talk to your parents about it, or talk to the teacher or whoever. Right?
You'd be surprised how many people feel the same things. I know I went to school with a lot of very intelligent people, and it was very surprising when we would all sit around and do our homework together, and they'd say, this was really hard. And I thought, I'm not the only one struggling with this. Even the valedictorians are struggling with it, and it was okay for us to be in that state of, we're going to do it together. And there's no shame in that. There's no shame in having that struggle or reaching out to people. There's no shame in going to therapy, or if you have to take extra long to do your homework or whatever it is that you need to do to get through. It's totally okay.
Yeah, absolutely. So guys, we are all in this together, and together we have power to overcome anything that we're facing in life, and realize that we're all really just the same. Okay, and we all need one another. So don't hide out and be alone. That's when these negative emotions that we all experience feel too overwhelming for us when we try to do it alone. So just remember that we all have felt the same feelings at some time in our lives, and so we all can definitely relate to one another.
I think overall, just generally speaking, good things happen when you share your passion, and whatever that may be, it's something people can connect with, and just sharing your light with someone else makes a bigger light. So I think overall, as long as you keep moving towards that goal, then things will definitely work out.
Absolutely. Thank you so much, Marina. I really appreciate you being here today and sharing your heart with us and sharing. Definitely, you guys go on and check her out. Can you tell us what your website is so that they can check out your artwork?
Yes, we should probably also leave the link.
Yes, we will. I'll put a link into definitely. I'll do that. I'll go in and edit the comments, and I'll put a link in.
Sure.
And I think we're about ready to lose battery power, so thank you for watching today, and be sure and check out Marina's work.
Thank you.